Remember the movie The Patriot with Mel Gibson? And like when he first starts and he's like sitting here with a gun against a tree and he said, Lord, make me fast and accurate. Do you remember that? That's me preaching today. I have a lot to say and I have to be quick and fast about it. I'm not going to shoot you, probably. All right, so we're in a sermon series right now that's a little different for us as a church. If this is your first time or you're newer here, we don't usually do this, but we're kind of having an internally focused conversation, not something that we do super often, talking about where we've been, where we're going, and what it's going to take to get there. Now, if you're newer, don't feel like this isn't for you. Like that, I still want you to feel a part of this. You kind of get a feel for what God is up to here, but I also, at the same time, I don't want you to feel the weight of it either, because you are not a part of this church yet, and I don't want you to feel like unnecessarily pressured into anything. So welcome, love you, nudge the person next to you if they invited you. Tell them to pay attention because it's important. All right, we're in a sermon series called 33 Degrees. 33 degrees. Next year at this time, we're going to do one called 70 degrees. Maybe we'll do something outside because why is it so cold out? 33 degrees because that is the point on the thermometer where a transformation takes place. It goes from ice to water, from solid to liquid, in a lot of cases from death to life. And it's a 1 degree difference, just a 1 degree difference that changes everything. And what I'm asking in this series is for you to consider that you could be the 1 degree difference here at Mosaic. If you call this church home, if this is your church family, your engagement, your commitment, your involvement could be that 1 degree difference from us being stuck to us being able to move towards what God has for us. Because we believe that the vision that God is calling us to is so big that not only do we need God, we need each other to be able to accomplish it. So we are believing that God has really big things in the future for us, and we want to walk towards them. So we're in a little bit of a season of dreaming and vision right now. And because God has done so much good just these past 3.5, 4 years, we are looking forward now with expectation. So much good, so much blessings, God moving in such a powerful way. Now we look forward and we see that we have opportunity as a church. We have a little bit, I would say along with the opportunity is responsibility, right? Anytime you have an opportunity, there's also a responsibility that comes along with it. Because we've seen God move in such amazing ways, we want to continue to see that. So we're looking forward, kind of dreaming together about the different things that God could do. And we've kind of recognized 3 places where God could be moving, where we believe he is moving, and we want to go after. And I just want to remind you of these 3 things. Number 1, we're going to go after training future leaders of the church. Investing in our next generation and preparing for multiplication. Those are the 3 things as we look forward that we want to strategically go after. So let me just quickly remind you what those are. We want to train future leaders of the church, and the way we want to do that is we want to have an intern program here where young people who are, maybe leaving high school in their 20s, kind of figuring life out, feel called into ministry. We want to grab them up. We want to send them to school while they work here. And the end result of this program is that a student who goes through this would come out on the other side with a 4-year degree, debt-free, and 4 years experience working in a growing church. And it would be, that's awesome for them, awesome for us, awesome for the kingdom of God. And right now, I kind of told you last week, we have one kind of going through that. He's like our little beta tester. Hopefully he goes well. The first guinea pig going through the maze here. And what we want to do, we're stating that, hey, we want to do this more. We don't want to have one. We want to go after 5. We want to go after 10. We want to be able to put a lot of kids through this because we know that next generation is so important, and we want to train them up to be ready to lead. Secondly, we want to invest in our next gen, and that's both youth and kids ministry. So for youth, one of the things we want to do, they go to camp every year. Every summer they go to camp, and camp is a week long, and it's a life-changing experience. I was just talking to a mom this week, and she was telling me, yeah, man, my daughter, it was really impactful for her. So it's a week-long encounter with God. We want to send as many kids down to that camp as possible. And what we want to say as a church is that we never want money to be the reason a kid doesn't go, right? That's just a stupid reason for a kid not to go. We don't want that to be the reason. So we want to start a scholarship program to make sure any youth that want to go to camp, we're going to make sure that happens. And then when it comes to kids ministry, I shared with you last week we had like 150 kids, and then I visited the nursery and the toddler room this morning, just kind of peeked my head in. And there's more babies than I would want to be in there with, so it's a lot. I had some threats first service because we went a little long that they might release them into the room at some point, so that's why I'm talking fast right now. But lots of kids, God is, and I want you to feel like that there's a responsibility with that. I just visited a church a couple weeks ago that I was sneaking it. Whenever I go into a church building, I always like check the doors are open and I sneak around and like to just see it. And I went into their kids ministry like area, and there was like cobwebs everywhere. You could tell it was a kids ministry area, but there was no kids. So like this is a thing for us to say, hey, God is really blessing us as a church. He's given us these kids. We want to make sure that we are investing in that. So one of the things we said is we want to add a staff member in that area. We have one. We need to have another focused person to be able to help continue to bear that burden and be ready for all the kids that God keeps bringing in, because we want to love them. We want to point them to Jesus here. So we're going to invest in our next generation. And then finally, we want to prepare for multiplication as a church. Because again, it's not you don't have to do a math major to know that if we keep growing, if more and more people keep coming to faith in Jesus, we keep baptizing more and more people continue to attend our weekend services, eventually we'll run out of room. Right? It just kind of happens. You can look around. Yeah, there's some empty seats here, but not very many in this service. By the way, we have church on Thursdays. Guys, there's lots of empty seats there, and Jesus will love you more if you go to Thursday. I'm just pointing it out. If you need that, it's something to keep in mind. But listen, this is my heart. This is my heart. I actually really like these empty seats, and I know most pastors would say, oh, empty seats are the worst. Listen, these empty seats represent people who don't know Jesus yet. Do you know that? You can look around and see these empty seats. This is important to me. We got to make sure that we keep the empty seats, because we want to keep being able to bring people in. And if we do, eventually this service will fill up. This one will be the first one to fill up, because you guys don't like to get up early on Sundays. That's fine. And then 9 o'clock will fill up, and then Thursday will fill up, and then we'll have a decision to make as a church. Do you know that? And some churches, and I get it, some churches say, okay, we did it. Full. And like you could make a decision to say, let's get comfortable. This is awesome. Things are going great. But I just want you to know that if we filled up and then we just decided to say, all right, we're good, to me, that's the same as saying to anybody outside of these four walls, figure it out. I'm sorry, we're full. We're not going to help you find Jesus. We're good. Other churches are going to have to figure out how to help you find Jesus. It's the same. It would be the same as us saying, hey, man, God moved in my life in this room. I love that I had a seat here, but I don't care that anybody else gets a seat. Like, that would be the same to me. And I know you're not saying that out loud, but I don't think we can say that as a church. Like, that's the worst thing a church could say, is basically, hey, the moment I reached the church, it was the perfect size, close the door on the inside behind me, everybody else on the outside. Essentially, go to hell. I'm good. Like, we can't say that. I did say that just now. We can't say that. We can't. So we have to find a way to make room. So what does that mean for us as a church? Maybe we'll have to add another service. We'll have to figure that one out. Maybe we'll try to tear down some walls and make some more square footage Harry Potter spell. We'll make it bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. I don't know. We'll have to figure something out. Or maybe we'll try to plant a campus somewhere. We're going to have to figure this out. And I just want to, I know like when a church talks about stuff like that, like, whoa, that's like big and scary. Yeah, a little bit. But one, this probably isn't tomorrow, just so you know. I mean, unless God would really, really move. It's not. But we don't want to wait until it happens to get ready for it, right? Like we don't want to be full and then be like, all right, what are we going to do? We want to prepare for it now as God continues to move up to it. So that's our heart. And we look at these things and we feel the opportunity and we feel the responsibility for them as a church. If you missed last week, I talked the whole time about these kind of things. And if you call Mosaic home, I would ask you to watch that sermon because it's really important for us here at Mosaic. All right, so here's my premise today as we look forward. Ephesians 2:10. It's one of my favorite verses. I talk to you guys about this all the time. For we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus so we can do the good things he planned for us long ago. It is my deep conviction that you were created by God on purpose for a purpose. That you are not an accident. That God created you. It was a plan. He planned you out. There might be illegitimate parents. There are no illegitimate children. God planned for you. and that he had an idea of what he wanted to do with you on this earth. I really, really believe that. You have a calling, a mission on this earth from God. And if you look at this verse, it says that the good things he planned for us long ago. The good things are your purpose, and he planned for them long ago. If you actually look at what that means eternity past. That before God created anything, before he created the first rock, the first blade of grass, the first animal, he had your name in mind. Heavenly whiteboard, he wrote your name at the top, and he started thinking through what he wanted for you in this life, the impact he wanted you to leave on this earth. And if you're a Christian, and what I mean by that is you follow Jesus, you put your faith in Jesus, you've trusted in his work on the cross for your salvation, and you follow him. That's what I mean when I say Christian. And if you're one of those, then that purpose is deeply connected to building his kingdom on this earth. Deeply connected to that. I really believe that. And let me take it a half step further. I believe that when you show up to a place like this and you decide to be a part of a church, that in some way your purpose is now going to be connected to our purpose, right? That if you say, hey, I'm a part of this local church, this extension of the global church, that your purpose in some way is going to play out here. That we together are going to have a purpose just like you individually have a purpose. And now you're going to be caught up in that. So this matters not just to you individually, this matters to us collectively. I believe you're here for a reason. I don't think anybody walks through these doors. That's why I really do feel this. Every time somebody walks in the door, I'm like, ooh, I feel a weight and a responsibility and an opportunity to say, hey, God brought this person here. There's a reason for that. And I want you to feel that you have a purpose, a mission. And it's like a destiny level thing. Destiny. It's a calling. It's in your DNA. You're built for it to push back darkness and build God's kingdom on this earth. I really believe that. I hope you do too. So here's the thing I want to get after today. It's kind of a warning. It's a warning. The Bible says that there is something in your life that currently is, the biggest obstacle to you fulfilling that purpose. It's something that everybody struggles with. I struggle with it. You struggle with it. It's a universal thing. It's such a big deal that almost every book of the Bible mentions it. The Bible's made up of 66 books. It's almost in every single one of them. The prophets warned about it. The apostles cautioned us on it. And Jesus talked about it again and again and again and again. Matter of fact, Jesus talked about this barrier more than he talked about heaven and hell. Isn't that crazy? That means it must be really important, right? That Jesus would say, hey, I'm going to talk about this thing that much. And think about it. If this thing is one of the barriers that prevents you from being able to live out purpose, to live out calling, to live out mission, then of course he talked about it that much. It's that big of a deal. So here it is, the obstacle. One of, if not the biggest obstacle, you fulfilling your God-given purpose on this earth is your view and understanding of money. Your view and understanding of money. This could crush your purpose. If you get money wrong, here and you get money wrong here, it's almost like your purpose is like two magnets trying to get close together and they're turned the wrong way and the magnet just keeps kind of pushing away from it because your heart's kind of upside down on this thing, and every time you try to get close to purpose, it's gonna push away from you. That's how important this subject is. Now I know, initial reaction, really? That's it? That's the barrier? Well, I'm not kidding. Jesus talked about money more than he talked about heaven and hell. It's that big of a deal to him. But I get it. Initial reaction might be like, But here's what he said. Matthew 6:24. No one can serve two masters, for you will hate one and love the other. You will be devoted to one and you will despise the other. You can't serve God and be enslaved to money. So here Jesus gives this big principle that we need to really, really look at. He said, hey, you can't have two masters. You're going to have one. We've talked about this a couple weeks ago. You're going to have one master. You're certainly going to have one, but you can't have two. You cannot have two. One's going to win. One thing will sit on the throne of your heart. And he specifically uses money here as the example because he's saying money is one of the biggest competitors to God in your heart. Money is one of, if not the biggest competitor to God in your heart. Now, if you don't like that, let me say it different. You are going to be constantly tempted in your life to pursue money and use Jesus rather than pursue Jesus and use money. You're going to be constantly tempted to do that. Did you catch that? You're going to be constantly tempted to pursue money and use Jesus to do it than pursue Jesus and use money to do that. You're going to be constantly tempted to flip these. That's why I like the idea of a magnet that's like been flipped. It's the wrong polarization. You've got it backwards. And think about how messed up that is. Can we be real? And I just want to say, this is not some like, you guys need to figure this out. We all do. We're all in this together. But how messed up is that? That we're saying, I'm going to pursue money, and hey, Jesus, will you help me do that? That I'm going to make money the most important thing in my life. Can you help me out there, Jesus? How jacked up is that? Because Jesus is supposed to be the thing. And instead, we're making something else the thing, and we're asking him to help us do it. As if he is a tool to get us what we really want instead of being the thing we really want. It's messed up. Now, you might look at this verse and you might hear what I just said and you might be going, that's not me. Not me. I'm good. What's next week, Pastor? We're going to talk about something because I got this. So you might be sitting there thinking, man, I get it. You might be sitting there thinking, you're getting the rich people this week. Okay, get them rich people. Tell them, you get them, Pastor, right? The people that live in that neighborhood, drive that car, wear those clothes, like, yeah, you get them. I'll get them. And again, I get it, because you read the enslaved to money, you're like, that's pretty extreme. I'm not that. And I understand, but I just want to ask you to consider something. What if this is one of those things that's really hard to see in the mirror? What if it is? You know those things that you can see really easy in other people, but you can't see it very easy in yourself? What if this is one of those? Where you're like, yeah, I got some friends who are that, and I know some guys at work who are that, but that's not me. Like, what if that's the nature of it, though? That it's really easy for you to spot, but it's really hard to see in yourself. What if this is one of those? And if it is, that means, by the way, we have to look this full in the face, that we could be struggling with it and not know it. That money could have a hold of us, and we wouldn't even know that it has a hold of us. And that, by the way, would be worse. I'd rather know than not know, but that's the nature of this, is that you might not even realize it. So here's what I want to ask, even if you're sitting there going, yeah, that's cool, still not me. I just want to ask if you would listen just for the next couple of minutes. Come with me here. Listen in. Don't check out. And then at the end, I'll give you a test to see whether or not it applies. How about that? Listen in, lean in, engage, and then we'll take a test together. All right. So in order to not fall victim to this barrier that prevents you from living out your purpose, what needs to happen is a mindset shift. You need to shift in the way you think about money. And the shift, here's the shift. You ready? The shift is from an owner mindset to a manager mindset. From an owner to a manager. You don't want to stay in the owner mindset. You want to shift to a manager mindset. And where we get this, there's a big principle, and this is the premise, and you accept it or you don't. Here's the principle. God owns everything. God owns everything. And I guess you need to decide right now, do you believe that? And let me help you. If you're a Christian, yes, you should. You should. But this is the beginning. This is kind of the beginning of our path today. We start with the premise, God owns everything. And there's a ton of verses on this. So if you're like, really? Ton of verses on this. I'll just show you a couple. First one's that's not Matthew. Psalm 24:1. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it. The world and all its people belong to him. Everything belongs to God. All right, and it's the earth, and it's everything in the earth, so anything you pull out of the earth is still his, like it's all his and all the people, right? This is everything, right? When Elon makes it to Mars, we can talk about whether that counts or not, I guess, right? But right now, this is it. This is everything. everything belongs to God. God's making this claim. He created it, it's his. And again, as a Christian, this is the first thing, this is the first step. I have to accept God owns everything. This is big. This is a big mindset for you. God owns everything. And what that means is, every time you say the word mine, you're wrong. Every time you say the word mine, you're wrong. And maybe that's why, I don't know if you've noticed this, that the word mine is kind of an ugly word. Okay, let me prove it to you. If you're like, ugly? If you're a parent, isn't it weird that like a 2-year-old of their very limited vocabulary, somehow one of the first words that they learn is the word mine? And I'm guessing that you probably didn't go out of your way to teach that one to them, did you? Like, here, this is a really important word, right? For some reason, they don't have a very big vocabulary, but for some reason, one of the very first words that they start spouting off is mine. And it's always ugly, right? It's always ugly. They're usually violent. They're usually assaulting someone while saying it, right? And they're saying mine. And we hate it, right? This is not one of the words that you get excited, like, oh, look, honey, they learned a new word, come here. Like, you're not excited about that, right? This is like, oh my gosh, did you hear what they said? Like, you're like, I don't know, did you teach them? I didn't teach them this, right? You have that kind of argument about this word because it's ugly. Now, here's my guess. My guess is you don't say it anymore, probably much, because you kind of have the feel that this is the word of a bratty kid. But just because we don't say the word doesn't mean we don't still have the mindset, that we don't still hold on to this thought that this is mine. Even though we know the word is ugly. And again, this is a part of where this whole idea that it's easier to see in others than it is to see in ourselves, because we can so clearly see this in other people. Oh, why are they so possessive for? Like, what is that? We see it in others, but it's hard to see in ourselves. But we can still have this attitude that these things are mine. And this is the premise. This is step one for us, is everything is God's. And let's be honest, we're already struggling. And here's why you're struggling, and I get it. You're like, okay, yes, everything is God's, but, dude, I worked hard for that stuff, okay? Like, I can tell you how many hours I worked. I put in the blood, I put it in the sweat and the tears, and I put up with all my coworkers, and I put up with my boss, and I came home, and I had that paycheck, and I paid my mortgage. I paid that car payment. I bought that stuff. Like, I worked hard for it, and I get it. As a pastor, I work hard 1 day a week, so I get it. You know what worries me was that little delay on your laugh. I'm a little insulted by that. I'm sweating right now. What? But I get it. We have this mentality that, hey, I worked for it though. Like, that's real, right? And I understand that. But can I show you just one more verse? It's as if God knew that we would think that. In Deuteronomy 8:18, he said this: "But you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is he who is giving you the power to make wealth." Dang. And I love these verses. It's always important when you see that, like, hey, you shall remember the Lord your God. What it means is it's really easy to forget him. It's really easy to feel like you did it. I worked that, I did that, I accomplished that. He's like, no, don't forget God, because he gave you that ability. So that brain that got you through college, you got that 4.0, you did that thing, you graduated, you did it. Oh yeah, God gave that to you. Those hands that fix things and make things, God did that. God gave you that. That back that's strong, those legs that are strong, that carry you through the whole day, and you work those 8s and those 10s, and you're working the weekends, and you're bringing the pay. God gave you that. He wrote your DNA, right? You were actually his idea. Remember the whiteboard? He had this whole thing planned out. He's like, oh, their IQ is going to be this, and they're going to be good at this, right? They're going to look this way. This is how tall they're going to be. This is how strong they're going to be. Like, he wrote all that down, and he likes it more than you, probably, right? But he gave you that ability. Even your ability to make wealth is his. He gave it to you. Everything is God's. Meaning that everything that you have, God gave to you. God gave it to you. He entrusted that to you. And what that What that makes you is not an owner, but a manager. You are a manager. God did not transfer ownership to you when he gave you those things. He transferred management to you. And we already understand this principle, right? Does anybody have like a financial advisor or a retirement manager or whatever their title is, and you give them money and they invest it for you? You have that, right? Some of you are like, I'm not rich enough to have that yet. All right, someday maybe, right? But you give them money, right? But you're not transferring ownership, you're transferring management. They are going to make decisions because they know stuff that you don't know and they have strategies that you don't understand. But you didn't give them ownership, right? You're not like, hey, go buy yourself something nice. You're not saying that. You're actually saying, hey, take care of my money for me. And you still have ultimate authority over that, and you still have say in what the direction is. They're making decisions based off of what you want, not off of what they want, right? So we understand that principle kind of from God's perspective, so to speak, but we also understand it as being the one who's doing the managing. Have you ever house sat for somebody before? Or babysat for somebody before? Like, you understand when you're house sitting for somebody that there's stuff you would do to your own house that you're not going to do to theirs, right? You're going to take care of the house the way they want you to take care of it, not the way you would want to take care of it. So like when they walk in after being gone for a week, they're not going to find you like tearing down a wall, right? That'd be really weird to walk into your house and be like, hey man, I just thought this room needed more light. I don't know, like this is good. Like you would never do that because you're not the owner, you're the manager. You're only going to do what they want you to do. And the same thing with babysitting, right? You're watching someone else's kid. You're not watching your own kid. You're going to take care of the kid according to the way they would want you to. So you're not going to take the kid to go get a haircut, right? That's not a thing a babysitter does, right? You'd get like sued for that probably, or something, just call the police on you. Cut it, especially if it's the first time you cut a baby's hair. They might just murder you, actually, a bit. But you understand that you are taking care of someone else's. It's not yours. And we intuitively see there's a difference in mindset. So you already understand this. So when God says here, he's not giving you ownership, he's giving you management, which means we're going to treat this stuff as if we're not the owner. There's a mindset difference. If God owns everything, then I kind of have two choices before me now. Am I going to choose to still act like an owner even though I'm not? Or am I going to act like a manager and have one eye on what does God want me to do with my money? Because it's not mine. And you can kind of see the way these two things play out, because if you accept the premise and you still choose to act like an owner, man, some stuff goes off. Some stuff twists in your soul. And what will happen is if you maintain the owner mindset, even though you're not the owner, you'll have an entitled and resentful attitude towards God when it comes to your money. When you act like an owner, even though God is the owner, you'll have an entitled and resentful mindset when it comes to money. You'll be like, God, what are you doing? God, where are you at? Why are you not helping me? You'll have a little bit of that. And then when God has the gall to suggest to you that you should do some things with your money, you're going to be like, whoa, God, what? This is mine. Why are you telling me what to do with my money? And you'll push back real hard on God the moment he tries to have any kinds of opinions about what you should do if you're maintaining an ownership mindset. You're going to be resentful every time he makes a claim on it. But if you accept the premise, God is the owner, and you take the management mindset, this isn't mine, none of this is mine, it all comes from a good God who's entrusting me with these things, it's going to produce gratitude and humility. Kind of the opposite. So now when I receive something or not, I'm just grateful that he gave me anything, right? I sit down in my car in the morning, turn the key, and it starts. Thank you, Lord. This is awesome. I can't believe it, right? I walk into my kitchen, flip the light switch, it turns on, turn on the hot water, and hot water comes out. Thank you, Lord. When the doorbell rings and it's the pizza guy, thank you, Lord, right? Pizza for lunch. This sounds good, right? We're going to have a grateful attitude because anything God has given us is good. And when God says, hey, I want you to do this or that with money, we're going to have a humble attitude. We're going to be like, what do you want me to do? It's yours. Tell me, what would you, anything else you'd like me to do with this is yours, not mine. And we're going to be quick to want to listen, quick to want to submit to the owner of the thing having a say in how we manage it. Do you see the difference? You can kind of choose. Here, you have to accept the premise, everything is God's, and then you can say, am I still gonna act like an owner? You're choosing resentment and bitterness. Or am I gonna act like a manager? I'm gonna be humble and I'm gonna be grateful. Now, here's the thing, as you go down these paths, the owner mindset, refusing to give up on the owner mindset leads to a really dangerous place. Because money is insidious, it's sneaky, it's temptuous. The moment you think you have money, money has you. The moment you think you own money, money owns you. It just flips it on you. Let me show you. 1 Timothy 6, 9 and 10. This is really important. But people who long to be rich fall into temptation and are trapped by many foolish and harmful desires that plunge them into ruin and destruction. Do you see the progression that verse has? You start here and then it really quickly, rapidly declines. And then he kind of repeats the whole idea in verse 10, it's a very famous verse. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. And some people craving money have wandered from the true faith and pierced themselves with many sorrows. That's a really popular verse. It's always misquoted. You've probably heard it quoted before. Money is the root of all evil. It's not what it says. That's an overstatement of the truth. It's the love of money and it's all kinds of evil. But look at this progression. I mean, just look at verse 9. So people who long to be rich. That sounds like an innocent thing, doesn't it? Just longing to be rich. That would be nice, right? You get in the wrong algorithm on Instagram and you're like stuck looking at a bunch of nice houses and you start to be like, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. But then look at where it leads. Longing to be rich, and then there's a temptation that comes with that. There's a pull. Your heart starts to get pulled in a direction. And what does the temptation lead towards? A trap. A trap closes on you. And by the way, isn't it like the nature of a trap is that you don't know? You didn't know it was there. You didn't feel the thing get sprung. If you would have known you're going to get trapped, you wouldn't have done it. And then it traps you with foolish and harmful desires. And then what does that happen? What then? Plunges you into ruin and destruction. It just takes you down this path. And then verse 10, same thing. Love of money, root of all kinds of evil. Some people craving money. Again, craving money doesn't seem like a bad thing, but where does it lead? To a wandering. It's like a magnet that flips the wrong way and it pulls you away from God, wandering from the true faith. And then where does that lead? Pierced with many sorrows. Very descriptive. This is, again, why I'm trying to get you to see that maybe this is happening, you don't know it. It's insidious. It's not obvious. It starts innocent and it ends in a horrible place. It doesn't tell you it's doing it. And by the way, I just want to say, we need to be extra vigilant with this because we live in America, okay? This is the water we swim in. We don't even know it's happening. We live in a capitalistic, greedy society that is going to tell you forever that you need more than you have right now. We are going to struggle with this more than any people have ever struggled with this. This is huge for us. Because then, if you let these verses actually happen, you start in an innocent place and money starts to pull you in. Where this path leads, even though God's the owner, I'm acting like an owner, where this path leads to, the end road, is you start to ask money to provide for you and fulfill you. That's where you come to at the end of this ownership mindset is money is my provider and money is my fulfiller. And both of those things are God things. Those are things that only God can do in your life. God is your provider and God is your fulfiller. Money is not supposed to play either one of these roles, but that's where this thing leads. That's what this does to your heart. You start to ask money to provide for you. You trust in money, not God. Isn't it weird that on money is the phrase, trust in God? Like it's right there. I know you don't ever see it anymore, because you only hold your credit. You should write it on your credit card. Trust in God, like in God we trust, in God I trust. Write it on your credit cards. You don't see money anymore, you need to write it down. But we have this tendency, this pull to start trusting in a number on a bank statement, a number in a portfolio, the number attached to that investment. Or we start trusting in knowing that steady paycheck is coming. I got this job, I work these hours, I'm getting that paycheck every 2 weeks. Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. And I have a comfort knowing that it's there. And you're trusting in money and not God. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of that stuff. Have your portfolio, please invest. Get a steady job, good. Don't trust in it though. Don't believe it is your provider. God is your provider. The moment it takes God's place as provider in your life, it has you. It has you. It is now what Jesus said, the master. It is the master, and Jesus is pushed down. And then you're asking money to fulfill you. It's not just provide, it's also now it's this thing in your heart, this craving in your heart, and you're thinking money's gonna actually solve that problem. And I don't maybe mean money. It's not like you're cuddling with a stack of 20s at night. Probably not. That'd be weird, right? It's not like you sit there and stare at a number on a screen, or do you? And ask it to fulfill you. But it's normally what money does, isn't it? You're asking the things that money can do to fulfill you. It's a vacation, it's food, it's a car, it's a trip to Target, it's boxes on your front stoop, they're waiting for you when you get home. It's that's what you're asking now to fulfill this deep longing in your soul, and God has been sidelined now. You've kicked him out and you said, no, this is what's gonna fulfill me now, God, sorry. And he's kicked down, he's off the throne, and you've pushed him down. And what Jesus is saying, you can't serve two masters. You'll love one and start to despise the other one. It'll ruin your relationship with God. Ruin it. A person who lives here at the end of this road, can they really live out their purpose? Can they really live out the mission, the calling that God has for them? Will they even care if they're not? This is why this is the biggest barrier. It draws you so far away from God. This is why it's so important to view and understand money the right way, that God is the owner. He owns everything. Don't choose the ownership mindset, choose the management mindset. You're a manager. You're gonna have a humble and grateful attitude. And you're never gonna ask money to provide for you. You're never gonna ask money to fulfill you because you know God does those things. Yes, the means he might do it with money might have something to do with it, but it is not the end result. You are pursuing Jesus and using money. That's what you want in your life. You do not want to be pursuing money and using Jesus to pursue it. You don't want that. You'll miss it. You'll miss it. All right, I told you I'd give you a test to see if this applies to you. See if money is one of the biggest barriers standing between you and your purpose in your life. All right, you feel ready? Did you study? It's 1 Timothy 6, 18 and 19. Here's what it says. Tell them, I love that, tell them, to use their money to do good. They should be rich in good works and generous to those in need, always being ready to share with others. By doing this, they will be storing up their treasure as a good foundation for the future so that they may experience true life. Doesn't that sound like, remember when Jesus said, I came to give them life and life to the full? It sounds like Paul here is referencing that. Here's the test. You ready? One question. It's just a one question test. Yes or no? Well, I'll give you a gradient. Yes or no is not easy. You can answer it. How generous are you? How much of what God gives you do you keep for yourself? Because if God owns everything and you're the manager, I just want you to know that God has stated repeatedly he does not want you to keep everything that he gives you. As the owner, he's stated, hey, don't keep it all. You're supposed to pass some of this off. You're supposed to be he wants his people to be a generous people. So he's looking at you, he's giving you all this stuff, and he's saying, hey, how generous are you? How much of what he's giving you are you keeping? Now listen, that's an easy one to grade yourself. Like if you're grading your own test today, by the way, I'm not doing that. It's a really easy one to grade yourself nicely on. Because we always think of the opposite, right? When you think generous, well, what's the opposite of generous? Greedy? Scrooge McDuck? right? Swimming in his pile of coins in his vault. That's not me. I don't do that. I'm not like him. I love people. I'm nice. I'm generous. And I get it. But how about this? What if you were put on trial and you had to prove that you were generous? Prove it. Would you be able to? And what if you had to stand before the whole world and you were laid bare, everything? You wouldn't be able to. This is court. You're not going to be able to stand and be like, Your Honor, I just feel generous in my heart. He's going to be like, nah, you're going to jail. Straight to jail. Not that jail is on the table here, but if you say you feel generous in your heart, then you should go to jail if you're not living it. Would you be able to prove it? Like receipts, prove it. I guess what I'm asking, and again, I can't do this for you. I'm just kind of presenting stuff to you. You have to grade your own paper. You have to figure this out on your own. But I want you to be real with yourself here. Don't lie to yourself. Again, the worst thing that can happen is that money has a hold of you and you don't know it. And I want to suggest, if you're not generous, if you're keeping most of what God gives you or all of what God gives you, money has a hold of you and you don't know it. It's latched on. The trap has sprung. It has you. It has you. And I, as your pastor, want to say, I don't want you to be stuck like that. I don't want you to be trapped like that. I want to get you out. But the thing that has to happen is you'd have to admit that it's happening. The money has a hold of you. Are you, how generous? How generous are you? Don't use Scrooge McDuck as your comparison. Don't use that rich, greedy neighbor down the street either. Can I suggest you use the Bible? Use the Bible as your example as to what is generous. Look it up. Read what God has to say about it. Ask him. Don't even ask me. I'm biased. Right? We'll talk about this next week. I'm biased. I'm a pastor. Ask God. But what I want you to see is that as your relationship with Jesus changes, your relationship with money is going to change. It has to move. And what I mean by that is they're actually kind of linked in more ways than you realize. And let me read one more verse to you so you can really see this. Matthew 6:21, Jesus speaking. Jesus says, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Meaning that if you try to take a step with Jesus, but you refuse to move on money, you're not gonna be able to take. You want to be able to progress along, but you're gonna get stuck because your treasure isn't moving, and you refuse to accept what he has to say about it, and it's gonna keep you in the same place, even though you don't want to be in the same place. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be. Heart's attached to treasure. You're going to have to move. You're going to have to move. We are going to have to move. This is one of those things. Listen, there's good and bad when you start to attach yourself to other people. Specifically, I'm talking about the church environment here. Being a part of a church is an awesome thing. It can be so good, it can be so encouraging, it can be so uplifting. But when we attach ourselves to others, we get the benefit and we get the cost, right? If we collectively refuse to get this, if we collectively refuse to be able to say we are a generous church, then we're going to miss out on some stuff too. We are. We won't be able to experience that next thing. The opportunities that God brings before us, we won't be able to say yes to them because we're stuck back here. We want to move. We want to move towards the stuff, God. We want to move, but it's got us. We have to take steps in this. So I'm not asking for anything today except for you to reflect, and I want to give you a moment to reflect. Let's actually slow down. I want you to talk to God. How about, why don't you close your eyes? If you haven't talked to God this morning yet, why don't you say hello? Ask him to open up your heart right now. Ask him to help you hear him, not me. Ask him to help you hear him, not you. Sometimes your own voice gets in the way of hearing from God. And then ask him to quiet any attitudes or thoughts that would hinder his voice in this area. And you know what I mean. If you really want to hear from him, if you really want to please God in this area, then ask his voice to be the loudest one in your heart right now. And then I want you to ask him a question, what he thinks. When it comes to money, are you acting like an owner or a manager? I want you to ask God that. Am I acting like an owner or am I acting like a manager? And if it's owner, ask him to help you break it. Ask him to help free you. He could free you. That's what he does. He does that. He frees you. He breaks chains. All right, ask him another question. God, am I generous according to you? Have I allowed money to come in and steal my purpose? Have I allowed money to sneak in and be my provider and my fulfiller? Ask him. Maybe even mentally pull up a computer screen, look at your bank statement, ask him to show you where you've been keeping what he wants you to give, where you've been hoarding, where he wants you to be generous. Ask him to help you unwrap your fingers from around it. Make him provider, him fulfiller. And maybe you're not even there yet. Maybe what you need to ask him is, Lord, help me want to. I don't even want to yet, Lord, but I need the desire. Give me the desire to do this right. Ask him to do some work on your heart. Guys, I just want to remind you, it's that important. I believe it's that important. This could be the thing that's holding you back from your purpose and your mission because you're viewing this so wrong. You're pursuing money. You're asking Jesus to help you do it, and it's killing your purpose. It's corrupting your heart in ways you can't even see, and today needs to be the beginning of breaking that. Don't let this be some stupid thing that you refuse to move on and you want to be stubborn on. It's too bad of a trade. Purpose is worth so much more. All right, stand with me. Lord, we are grateful because you've given us everything. You are the owner. I want to state that. You own everything, Lord. I pray for our hearts, Lord. Our hearts are so pulled in the opposite direction. I hope you're patient with us. You have to see that we live in a really difficult society for this. Thank you for not giving up on us. I pray for generosity here, Lord, as the cure. Generosity is the thing that will prevent us from slipping here. I pray for a spirit of generosity, Lord. I pray for this church to be a generous church. Truly, in your eyes, if you were grading it, that we would be that, Lord. I want to be that. Help us take those steps, Lord. Help us to see the truth and be drawn to it. And then to see that light of what you could do through us because of it. In Jesus' name I pray.